No guys, that is not a real cat. This is Mrs. Wizard's cat away from home. And we're not going to put a real cat on here. But today we're going to do a video on some of the craziest lies that me and Mrs. Wizard have had to put up with running a business, starting a business, changing locations, some of the craziest stuff that we've had to deal with. So let's get started. Before we get started on the lies, we'll start with a little truth. If you guys are big Pantera fans like I am, I grew up with Pantera, click the link in the description below. Video Bob is selling a lot of equipment that Pantera used back in the day. It's official, true touring equipment. You guys don't want to miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime chance. This stuff's not going to go cheap. You're not going to buy it for 10 bucks, obviously, but make sure to click that link below and also hit subscribe button on Video Bob's channel. There's lots of really sweet footage on there as well. Now back to the lies. The first one I'll start with is just actually a customer lie. And it's kind of the smallest lie. It really didn't result in a whole lot of craziness, so we'll start small and work our way up big. There was a 1997 Ford Ranger that just showed up at our shop, and it's the older shop that we started out with, the brick building you guys see in Car Issues 1. And it sat there for 3 or 4 days, and me and Crazy D were like, why is this truck here? What's going on? So I went rummaging through the glove box. I normally don't do that, but I kind of had to in this situation to figure out whose is it. And I found the registration, got the name, and it was a customer we've had before. And I had Crazy D call this person. He got a hold of her and he's like, hey, your truck's here. We're trying to figure out what's going on. And she was like, oh yeah, it broke down on me. Something's really, really wrong with that truck. It won't start. Something's broken and I need to get it fixed. It's like, well, why didn't you call us? It's been sitting for 4 days. She's like, I forgot about it. They're like, okay, well, we'll take a look at it. So I did some checking on the vehicle, scanned for codes, look for any issues. I finally turned the key on and I saw the gas gauge didn't move. I was like, that can be something there. So I knocked on the bottom of the tank and it sounded empty, so we put 5 gallons in it and it started right up. It drove perfectly fine. Crazy D called the lady and said, hey, we put some gas in your truck. We just have half an hour to check this thing and the cost of the fuel. It's ready to go. And she wouldn't accept it. She's like, no, that's not what it was. Crazy D was like, yeah, it was. It was just out of gas. It's ready to go. The bill's not even that high and just the cost of gas and you can come get your truck. She's like, no, something's wrong with that truck. It wouldn't start. So she finally accepted it. Okay, I'll pay for it and come and get it. A couple days later, she called with credit card information. We charged it. It went through. She said she'll be by to pick up the truck. And she picked up the truck and she left. A month later, I'm going through the books, making sure the numbers are good and everything, and I see that the amount that we charged her originally had been pulled back out of my account. So I called the credit card company up and I was like, what's going on here? That customer owes me that money. We provided services and fuel. We need to get paid. And the credit card company was like, no, it's not that. That's not the problem. The problem is the credit card that the lady used to pay you wasn't even hers. It was stolen. It was fraudulent. And said, unfortunately, in this situation, you're probably just not going to get paid. I was like, what? You ran out of fuel. You refused to accept that as an answer. Then you pay with a car that you stole. And here's the kicker, guys. This customer was a professor at a well-known college in the area. Let that sink in for a minute. The next one involves you guys' favorite truck. A 2004 F-150 3-valve 5.4 Triton. Actually, I don't know if it's anyone's favorite truck. It's definitely not mine. A customer brought one to us that he just bought. It had been driven so long with bad timing chain system that the entire driver's side of the engine wasn't even working anymore. It was just dead. It was running on 4 cylinders. He said, I just bought this thing. I need it to move. I need to be able to drive the thing. I was like, okay, we looked into it, and you guys know it's always a new engine, especially in this scenario. The engine was shot. So it quoted him $7,000. which is what it takes to do those. And this would have been one of the 15 I've replaced, except for he went to get a loan from the bank that he bought this truck through, which is only 4 blocks away from my shop at that time. He told them the story, and they kind of felt sorry for him. They're like, okay, we'll tack it on to your current loan. We'll give you the money. You can go ahead and get a new engine put into your truck. And that's not the crazy part, guys. Are you ready? So this customer is supposed to be giving us this money. He told us go ahead and order the engine, and I'm glad I didn't because the money never arrived. And after a few days, the bank called, and they're like, we just gave this guy money to fix the engine. Why haven't you started on it yet? It's like, because I've not received any money. I've not gotten a phone call, a text message, money. I've got nothing from this guy. I haven't heard from him. They're like, oh, we gave him money to get that fixed. I'm like, well, it's not getting fixed until I get the money. So they did a little digging and found out what happened. The guy took that $7,000 and went gambling with it and just blew it all. It's all gone. So now we have this dead truck. The money that was supposed to fix it is gone. And finally the guy abandons the truck and just dumps it on the bank. So the bank calls and says, okay, we're going to come pick up that truck. We're going to repossess it. I said, no, you're not. I have a bill. You're going to pay my bill. Then you can have the truck. Just because you're a bank, it doesn't scare me. I own this truck until you pay the bill. Okay, we'll pay the bill. So they paid the bill. They picked up the truck. I never heard from the guy again. I never heard from the bank. I don't know what happened in that situation. It was probably scrapped. Who knows? But at the end of it all, I was like, why do there have to be so many lies, so much craziness? It's just a broken engine. Get the money and fix it. It turned into a huge fiasco, guys. It was really crazy.
So this lie was told to me, and this was when we shifted from the Halstead location to our new shop in Newton. And you know how when you move, you've got to change all your services and it can be just a nightmare. This is the nightmare of nightmares of nightmares. So we are changing our phone internet system. And in Kansas, there's the first 3 is our area code, which identifies the region that we're in. And then there's the next 3 numbers in the telephone number that identify the city. So we weren't able to keep that same phone number we had in Halstead. We had to switch. And that was fine because that identified that we are now a business in Newton, Kansas, which was fine. So I call them up and they say, yeah, and I was hoping to get a good phone number, something fun with, numbers that were nice. They said no, that it was not very pleasant. But you can choose these 4. I was like, okay, I wrote them down. I said, okay, this one. It's the phone number we still have today, but she just wasn't pleasant. She's like, yeah, we can transfer everything over. Yeah, it'll be fine. So we bought the building at the first week of June. And we were still just starting out. And so this was a big leap of faith to go to this bigger building. And we couldn't be down because if we're not working, we're not making money. So we thought, okay, we got it in June. We want to be open July 1st. And so we can do this. The boys are still wrenching in Halstead. I'm over in Newton painting, trying to clean things up. And it was still just try and work as quickly as we all could because that last week in June was when everything shut down and everything got moved in. And which would have been great because I said, hey, this is when we want our phone system turned on right before we open. And the lady said, yeah, that'll be fine. This is your phone number. Yeah. And I said, this is our phone number. She says, yes, that'll work just fine. And I'm like, good. So I can start marketing. I can start getting new business cards made. I can get other advertising done and say, hey, we've moved. Here's the new number. I can put it on our website. It's great. So everything is still processing along. We're still getting ready to open the new shop. And the guy comes out from the company and he looks at our system and he's talking to me a little bit. He's like, what are you trying to do here? I'm like, well, we're going to, open our business. We're going to need some internet, some, credit card processing and phone. Yeah, he says that's not going to really be possible. Did they not tell you this? And I'm like, no, the lady just made it sound like everything was going to be great and fine. He's like, yeah, if you go about a couple hundred feet down the road, they don't even offer service. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you guys are so far out from their transmission stations, whatever, that you really are not going to have good service. I'm like, what? So I have to call them back. And I said, you guys lied to me. This is not what we agreed on. You didn't say my service was going to be so horrible out here. Oh, well, yeah. I said, this isn't going to work. We need to stop this. I've got to go with another company. I need that phone number released so I can switch it to them. Oh, well, that's going to take some time. Time? Really? Well, so I've already called a new company. I've already got that ready to go. They said, yeah, everything is good. Just get that number released and we'll go with it. Okay. And so I call back the first company and they say, well, it's going to take time. And I said, we need to be open by July 1st. Yeah, we won't have it by then. Maybe we could do like a forwarding system to that number. Okay. They say, yeah, we got one thing we could do. There's a couple options. One, yeah, we can do all this. And she's like, yeah, I would do this and this and this. And sounds, yeah, that'll be great. Well, then she, at the end, after she started to do some of the paperwork on her end or the whatever clicks she has to do on her computer, yeah, that's like $20 a minute. A minute? $20 a minute? Are you kidding? That's not what we paid cell phones back in the day when, in the 80s. Are you kidding? And I said, no. She's mad because I said, no, don't do that. She's like, well, that's what you wanted, ma'am. I'm like, not at $20 a minute. So obviously not overly happy here. Trying not to go full Karen on this lady at the phone company, but I was almost there. Finally get it all switched around. Had to do a little bit of forwarding system through them to get it to the other number so they could finally get it done. The second company we went with has been great. We're not watching, YouTube videos, which, we do encourage you to do, but the guys aren't watching that. They're doing some internet surfing to, check diagnostic stuff on cars. We're doing credit card processing, and obviously we've got some phone. We didn't need it to be super fast, but we needed to be fast enough to work. And we would have been dead in the water if we'd gone with that first company and their massive lie.
So the next crazy lie has nothing to do with the shop or even Omega Autoclank at all, but it's kind of in the past when I was learning my wizard skills. It has to do with the state of Kansas, the Kansas Army National Guard. After I'd finished my time as an active duty in the real Army, I was working at an aircraft company and I thought on the weekends I could earn a little extra money. I'll join the National Guard, that'd be cool. So I went down to the recruiter and they were like, oh yeah, we can get you a $10,000 bonus. You get X amount of dollars a month. We could use your experience. You have a lot of real world, like active duty experience. We'd love to have you. Okay, so I signed the paperwork and everything was looking good, but it wasn't good. So I'm supposed to go 1 weekend a month. And in the paperwork it said after my first weekend, I would get half of my $10,000 bonus. But on the second and a third and even a fourth weekend, not only have I not gotten my bonus, I've not even been paid at all. So I try to go through the chain of command, I don't get anywhere, and finally I kind of break the rules. I broke the chain of command and I called the headquarters in Topeka. I was like, what is going on here? Why am I not getting my bonus? I've not even been paid. And the guy looked at the paperwork. He goes, oh yeah, the program that they signed you up for doesn't even exist anymore. It hasn't been in operation for years. So that means you're not getting a bonus. And number two, because of this, we've frozen your pay so that we can do some shifting around and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I need to get paid. At least pay me my normal pay. And they're like, no, we can't do that right now. Finally, I contacted an attorney and paid for an hour of consultation, and he looked over the paperwork. He said, you have in your documents signed by an officer, a recruiter, and you, stating a dollar amount, when it's to be paid, and how much a month you'll be paid. He said, the state of Kansas doesn't have a leg to stand on. If you want to take them to court, you can rake them over the coals. I called this guy back in Topeka, the headquarters guy, and told him this information. And he got lippy with me, got very pissed off. He's like, you want to take it to court? Go ahead. I called the attorney again. He said, you know what? If you want to go to court, you can, but the simplest thing that you can do is stop showing up. He said, they have no recourse. This contract is not even valid. It's null and void. They have breached their own contract with you. I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. I don't really want to go to court. I just want to be done with this. Anyways, to make a long story short, I left the first sergeant a really nasty gram. Said this wouldn't happen on active duty. Second of all, I'm very disappointed with your unit, the guys that are working there. I'm an E4. I'm coming in there on the weekends showing E6s how to do their job, how to work on Humvees and tanks, Hemmets, all these different trucks and things. They're like, how do you know how to work on this? This is amazing. I'm like, guys, this isn't amazing. You should know this stuff. We had privates, E3s doing this work, and you can't? And I started realizing I've not been paid, I've not got my bonus, and these people are pretty dumb. And I just dropped it. And it's really sad that what I thought would be a fun way to earn some extra cash turned into some of the biggest lies of my life. The last one I have is when we were actually purchasing the current building we're in, the big 13,000 square foot building. I was actually looking to buy a different building, and the guy who owned that owned multiple buildings in the area. He said, well, no, this one I'm not actually ready to sell yet, but I do have another one I could sell you. Let's go over there. So we went and looked at it. Me and Mrs. Wizard looked around and we're like, wow, this might be too much of a building. This thing is so huge. This is way more than we were looking for. But we now know that actually it's almost not enough room anymore. But the owner of the building said, the current renters who are renting this building will soon be leaving. They're going to be moving out. If you want to buy this building, it's for sale. They'll be gone at the end of 30 days, and you can move on in. After we did some number crunching and looked at it, it was going to be cheaper to buy that big, huge, giant building than it was to have one half the size built brand new. So we're like, okay, yeah. So we went to the bank, we got approved, everything's good to go. The owner of the building told the renters, look, you guys, you definitely need to stick to this 30-day thing. You need to be out because now there's a new owner. I've sold the building. Mrs. Wizard is boxing things up. I'm still trying to work at the old shop and keep things rolling there, and we're starting to get moved in. And the company that's renting this building, they're not even looking like they want to leave. Mrs. Wizard wanted to get some of the offices painted and get things cleaned up, and I called the owner. It's like, hey, we need this stuff out of here so we can start getting the office set up. He's like, well, that's fine. Just go ahead and start boxing it up. I said, no, you need to box it up. It's your stuff. And the guy was like, well, we don't have time to do that right now. If you want it moved right now, you're going to have to box it up. So we did. We had to clean up their mess. Actually, we had to clean up so much of their mess. Also in the description below will be a link to go see that process. When we moved over to that building, you can see some really crazy pictures. But it just gets worse, guys. Just wait. So we're getting to about a week away from our opening day. We're supposed to be open for business. And this company renting the building really hasn't done anything yet. There's employees working there, building frames. But the higher-ups, the executives or the owners of the business are nowhere to be seen. I don't even know where they're at. I don't even know that they were ever around. So I talked to the employees. I was like, hey, do you guys know we're moving in? We already got some stuff moved in. You need to be leaving in a week. And they're like, yeah, we know. But the owner said we're supposed to just ignore that. We need to start on the next frame, which will take another 4 weeks to get done. I said, no. In a week, we have to be open here. You guys are supposed to be gone in a week. So I called the owner of this company that's renting the building. And he was just lippy. He was nasty with me. He's like, they kicked me out with no reason. We don't have anywhere to go. We don't know what we're going to do with our business. How can we build these frames? And are we supposed to do it in the middle of the street? Gave me a big sob story. I'm supposed to feel sorry for him and let him stay in a little bit longer. And I just told him, I said, hey, I understand where you're coming from, but ultimately I'm going to look out for my business. I'm going to make sure my business succeeds. Whatever you're doing with yours, I don't care. You have to be out in a week. So the next day I talked to the owner, the old owner of the building. I was like, hey, these people aren't leaving. They have a week left. Do you have any suggestions? He said, yeah, before you even looked at buying the building, they threatened me. They said, your rent is too high. We're going to be looking for another building. In fact, we are looking for another building to rent. We're going to be out of here pretty soon unless you lower the rent. The owner of the building at the time said, I tell you what, I have someone interested in buying this building. How about you got 30 days and get your stuff out? That's what you want, isn't it? And then the guy starts backpedaling. Whoa, we're just bluffing here. He said, oh no, I'm going to call your bluff. You guys got 30 days to get out. They didn't have a whole lot of stuff. It was very, very large items. They just need to get it out. Machinery and things. So finally I called the owner of this company up and was like, look, you have 1 week to be out of here. And you guys know I'm pretty bold. I'm a shrewd businessman. Ed Bolian from VinWiki is a shrewd negotiator. I'm a shrewd businessman. And when somebody puts me in a corner, I start putting the hammer down. And that's what I did at this point. I said, tell you what, you got 1 week to get your stuff out. And then I'll have the police come and escort you out. And anything left in the building, I will now own. And I will cut it free from the building. Some of the cranes and stuff you have welded to the building. I will have it cut down, scrap metal. And I will sell your forklift. I will sell everything and keep the money. Finally, they were out, but it was on the very last day, like the day before we opened. A truck showed up. They loaded it up. They scrambled and got everything loaded back up, and they were gone. As I was talking to the workers that last day, they said the boss already had a place figured out all along. He was lying to you. He was trying to call your bluff. He tried to call two people's bluff, the original owner of the building and me, the new owner of the building. A real shady business, real shady stuff going on there. We had our lifts up, everything ready to go, but there was still some junk laying. It took us another month or two to finish up what they didn't finish. But that was the craziest thing I've ever been through as far as a purchase. Full of lies. And even to this day, I'm not even sure, and all the finger pointing and I'm not even sure exactly what happened there. I just know that I had to get those people out. So I know you guys like these crazy stories. If you want to hear some really crazy stories, or really good stories actually, make sure to head over to VinWiki. There's a link in the description below for that. He's going to be releasing some Car Wizard car stories on his VinWiki Car Stories channel. And there will be information revealed only on his channel that I have not told you guys on any other platform. Not Hoovie's Garage, Car Issues, Car Trek, Car Wizard, any of those. Only on that channel. So if you want to hear those really sweet stories, head on over to VinWiki this week. It's going to be the first video out. So don't miss out on that. So make sure to check out the description below. There's all kinds of links and things going on. There's the Amazon affiliates. There's the Pantera stuff for sale. There's VinWiki. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we got many more cool stories, projects, customer lies, all kinds of crazy things. I could go on for days, guys. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.